calling in the creator to the CEO who crave creating community and cash to create it like a boss. With me, Katrina Julia, as your host, multi passionate entrepreneur, creator, and CEO who has walked from fear to faith, self hate to love, corporate to calling, and continues to, with experience in 7+ industries, 7,000 plus creators, and startups, to creators to Fortune 500 brands, including Google, NBC, Victoria's Secret, and more. If you are ready to create it like never before in faith, wellness, wealth, marketing, business, travel, and more, this is the show for you. If this is your time to have freedom in all forms as you create it like a boss, let's create it.
First time on dating apps in 2024, an adventure in modern romance. There is no question that the state of dating and where people are finding love in 2024 looks different than 2004. Over 50% of people are finding relationships and love online. In 2024, I decided to dive headfirst into the world of online dating. This episode and the blog post that correlates to this is definitely different than my typical content. At the same time, as a creator and CEO, I absolutely have the freedom to create, and so do you. It was a bold move for someone who's always been a bit skeptical of finding love through a screen. And of course, I'm still open to finding love in a different way. I'm the one, you guys, that used to say, God does it that's not going to be my love story with God, basically, because also how I grew up with my mom and dad meeting at a nightclub in Bulgaria, and then him introducing him to his mom the next day and saying, this is the woman that's going to carry his children, or my brother that met my sister-in-law at the hotel he was staying at in Spain, and then they started a long distance relationship, and then he ended up going to school in Austria, and then they lived together in UK, and now have two beautiful children in Austria. So part of that was my mindset also. So if you would have told me a year, 5, 10 years ago, I would experience this and share it, I would have absolutely called you crazy. At the same time, I'm huge on belief, embodying, being open to limitless possibilities, and taking aligned action. So here I am. Armed with a sense of adventure and a couple of upgrades, I embarked on a journey that would lead me to explore new connections and experiences. And I also felt led and compelled to share this journey because I know many people are skeptical, are scared, don't know how to navigate it, and thought I would share what wisdom I gleaned and from who, and then how I'm approaching it, and then while keeping the privacy of the men private and honoring that, still giving you some insights into how I'm navigating it, how I'm managing myself emotionally, physically, and taking things step by step with friends first, etc. So before I joined the world of online dating, for years, I intentionally focused on healing and purpose. To give you some very vulnerable information, I actually haven't been in a relationship since 2016. So many people find that mind blowing. And yes, I got approached by guys, but it was like clear misalignment, like clear, like this is not the guy that, our creator would let me know in more ways than one. I set an intention with dating, with intention leading from friendship first to purpose and passion partners, because what I have found is in my own journey with love is that when you sometimes jump into everything right away, then so many things are missed. So many red flags are missed. So much misalignment is missed. And also our own healing and triggers and trauma. So for me, I'm not putting a time frame on it, but at the same time, it's very intentional with leading with friendship to purpose and passion partners with the goals of intentional dating, intentional intimacy, and engagement and marriage. So I read romance and dating online resources, especially diving deep in the last 2+ years with Rachel Sherrill at the underscore true underscore feminine underscore glow atanmo, if I'm saying that correctly, at Glow Graphics. And I'm going to share more about these resources. Matthew Hussey, R.C. Blakes Jr., Dr. Tony Evans, and the list goes on. Janelle Lene. I am so grateful for prayer, intention, and these resources that are helping me navigate an adventure in modern romance, whether I find love online or in real life, hashtag IRL. I'm sharing insight and information while protecting the privacy of others, and also to give you encouragement if this is where you are or this is what you're thinking about, so that you feel more aligned and true to yourself. So, as someone that is a traditional dater for years, meeting people in real life prior to 2024, dating online is definitely an experience. And I've definitely learned some things the last 2+ months as I've been navigating it. I don't know if I'll find love online or in real life. I'm open to either. What I do know is that dating online provides intention, selection, validation, and an easier ability to set a process and take your time than sometimes in real life has for me. And it definitely helps me to look at things sometimes often objectively and also unapologetically communicating things, or simply stepping back if something is a clear red flag or just misaligned, or asking for clarity. So the apps, I started initially with Tinder, Passport, and Bumble. I chose two of the most popular dating apps. And it's funny because actually on a Thailand group trip to Phi Phi Islands, somebody actually, I don't even thinking about it because I had on my list to read a book, Love at First Swipe by Glow. However, and I had a intention and a feeling that I was being led to start in Bali, which is also crazy. And one of the guys on the trip, the group trip in Phi Phi Islands from Phuket in Thailand, brought up Tinder, Passport, and how he was navigating it. So it was interesting to hear a guy's perspective too. So both apps offer unique features and user experiences, and I opted for the upgrades, which everyone I've listened to recommends for several reasons, to maximize my chances of finding a meaningful connection. And I joined Tinder, Passport the very end of April in Bali. And then one of the girls I became friends with at Balik Co-Living actually recommended Bumble from several aspects. And so I ended up joining, I think, Bumble sometime in May, like mid-May-ish. Or actually, maybe even June, maybe closer to June. I think it was like early June now that I'm thinking about it. So Tinder, Passport allows you to swipe and match with people all around the world. When you upgrade with Tinder on different plans, you may see who likes you first. And I've actually challenged myself to do both, like look and see who likes me, but then also like people first. The feature was particularly appealing to me initially as I opened it up to a global pool of potential matches. It felt exhilarating to connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds, broadening my horizons beyond a local dating scene in Bali that I would potentially encounter, say, at a co-working space, at a cafe, or at, the gym, or on an adventure. And as a creator CEO traveling the world. So making things, easier in different ways and more accessible as well. Bumble, I upgraded as well, which lets you see who already likes you. And the upgrade saves a lot of time and uncertainty knowing that someone's shown you interest. Also, often when you're starting or just in general, it can give you confidence to start conversations and or see if someone will and what their initiative is like. And sometimes I do initiate a conversation, and sometimes I don't. And especially if someone just drops an emoji, to me that screams low effort. Like, did you even read my bio, or did you just look at my pictures? So I get it. Testosterone is a whole thing. So in any event, making the whole process smoother and more enjoyable. And I definitely set the intention to simply connect and create with amazing people, amazing men around the world. I did like I said, without seeing if they liked me first. So dating coaches and advice, and these are some that I have personally had interaction with. Navigating the dating world may be daunting. So I sought the guidance from some renowned dating coaches from around the world that you may have heard of and some you may not have. You will find my dating resources are intentionally a blend of male and female with the relationships and results I desire. So I used to listen to some that didn't yet have a relationship I desire, and I stopped listening. It was like one or two. So, the one university, I connected with Jamal and Natasha and the one circa 2017 and dove in 2 times. The curriculum focuses on getting whole, getting a date, and getting married. Through their program, I learned about coaches and people like Kate Tomlin and the Heart of Dating show. Rachel Sherrill. Rachel's perspective on feminine energy and attracting the right partner while also focusing on faith, and so does the One University, provided a refreshing and empowering approach to dating. I started listening to Rachel about 1 to 2 years ago via the Heart of the Dating show, and I deeply aligned and connected to the feminine focus and the femininity focus as I was starting to align and embody this. Glow at Glow Graphics, love at first swipe. I love her guidance and advice on creating authentic relationships and being a party of one and being yourself, and this resonated deeply with me. I followed her creator, CEO, and globe-trotting adventures for over 3 years, and I love that we aligned via communities I share in my 75 plus tips, tools, and tech, like Brendan Bouchard and different travel communities. And in Love at First Swipe, her journey and tips on profile creation and conversation starters and screening are priceless. I love that she found her love with Stefan online, and they co-create passion and purpose all around the world. All the authenticity deeply resonates with me. And her book is amazing and guides you through the profile, step by step, questions, intentionality, and so much more. And I'm definitely going to share a bit more about my profile coming up. Matthew Hussey, How to Get the Guy. Matthew Hussey is a British dating coach, YouTube personality, and author known for his expertise in relationship advice. I discovered Matthew on YouTube and love his relatable and vulnerable approach as a high-quality masculine man in a marriage. He gained popularity through his appearances on TV shows and his book, Get the Guy, which provides insights and strategies for women to attract and keep a romantic partner. I've listened to his book on Audible twice in 2024 and numerous YouTube videos. R.C. Blakes Jr. R.C. Blakes Jr. is a pastor, author, and motivational speaker known for his teachings on personal development, relationships, and spiritual growth. Over the last 3+ years, I've easily listened to over 25 YouTube videos from him, his book, Queenology, and Father-Daughter Talk. He is like the father many of us never had when it comes to value and worthiness as a woman and relationships. Dr. Tony Evans. He is a prominent pastor, author, and speaker known for his teachings on Christian living and biblical principles. I discovered Dr. Tony Evans via his daughter, Priscilla Shire, and biblical studies. In early 2023, I devoured his Kingdom series on Audible. He has written several books on the concept of kingdom, which explore the principles of God's kingdom and their application in daily life. These books include Kingdom Man, Kingdom Woman, Kingdom Disciples, and Kingdom Agenda. These works emphasize living according to God's will, understanding one's identity in Christ, and applying biblical truths to personal and communal life. This reminds me, I haven't read it in a while, but it's absolutely been influential in my life, and that's why I didn't, because it's been a while, so that's why I didn't think about it when I was writing this blog, but it came to me right now in recording the show. Relationship Goals by Pastor Michael Todd. That is the church I've been faithfully aligning, attending, and previously served in over a year to 2 years. Transformation Church, and the series Relationship Goals, the book Relationship Goals, Crazy Faith series, part 1, part 2, the Crazy Faith book, those absolutely have influenced me as well. Allison Armstrong, The Queen Code. In 2024, a lot of my soul's desire and yearning has been to explore femininity further, the being, the embodying. So I'm not surprised that a new friend, Sophie, I met in Bali, recommended Allison Armstrong in our conversation on our trip on our day trip that we did snorkeling in Gili Air. And Allison Armstrong is a renowned author, speaker, and educator who specializes in understanding the complexities of male female relationships as well. She wrote an incredible book, Queen's Code. It focuses on transforming the way women interact with men, aiming to foster respect and understanding. And I've listened to the book over 2 times in 2024. Janelle Lene, the dating coach for women. She's a dating coach specializing in helping women navigate the complexities of modern dating. She's also focused on faith-based alignment, empowering women to build confidence, set healthy boundaries, and attract meaningful relationships. I think I found her on Instagram via Jamie C. with Cashflow Confidential, and I love her Instagram. Read her book, The Next Level Confident, and tuned into her masterclass last year, and then dived into her Attract Your Husband course in 2024 now twice. And I do a lot of the activities like the visualization and meditation daily, as well as I'm tracking my dating habits every single day for the most part. And I'm not perfect, I'm a human, but just seeing it like, am I praying? Am I writing letters to my husband? Am I writing letters to my future self? Am I listening to education on dating, at least an hour or so weekly? Am I focusing on, being and becoming the queen that I desire to be, that attracts my king, etc.? So this is also so you understand the past several years of focus, healing, wisdom, and purpose. And not only that, but the intentional action that I'm taking from the inside out as well. So, not living in a fairy tale or it's just, the husband or the man's going to drop from the sky. So I'm definitely a party of 1, ready to be a party of 2. So creating the perfect profile for dating apps, this was definitely what felt like my first challenge in stepping into the online dating world. And that's why I was so grateful for at Glow Graphics, at True Feminine, Rachel, at Janelle Lene, because they definitely help simplify and clarify it. So this integrates my own wisdom, but also integrates a lot of their wisdom. So choose clear, recent photos, and also think about the intentionality of the photos that you're sharing. And this goes for men and women. So use high quality photos that show you in your best light. I showcased, like recommended, and I believe this is aligned, a mix of solo shots and photos showcasing purpose and doing activities you love. Gives a well-rounded impression of who you are to the potential person. So I, in my blog post, share 6 out of the 9 photos. And I have like a close-up of my face that's really recent, like in the last 2 to 3 months. I took it in Thailand. One that's in Bali during a video/photo shoot that's also like within the last month. One in Egypt from this year. One from Virgin Voyages, I think from last year, the year before. One with elephants from Thailand. A fitness photo from a recent photo shoot. Also a businessy computer shot from a recent photo shoot, and a couple other, I think, fun ones too. And also, those of you that have been listening for a while, you may know, and those of you that tuning in for the first time may not know, that I also compete in fitness shows. And when you look at my Instagram, sometimes I have shots in bikinis and different things when I'm, at the beach or whatever. However, intentionally, I did not put this on my dating profile because I also was mindful of how visual men are and the type of man I want to attract. And also, clearly, once he gets my Instagram, like he's going to see that, but also he sees not every shot is a bikini shot. You know what I mean? And it's also done oftentimes from a distance or very tasteful, unless I'm like at a fitness show. And then even then, I don't share certain types of shots, even on social media or in general, because again, knowing the potential message behind the visual and being mindful of how I want to show up as classy and sassy. So, bio, write a genuine bio. Be honest and concise. Highlight your interests, your intentions, what you're looking for in a partner. As a woman, I can tell you it's super annoying to me when I see a man that doesn't have a bio. Like 9.5 out of 10 times, I'm going to say no, whether he liked me or not, because I know nothing. I know very little. I know some visual, obviously, about him, but depending on the quality and intentionality behind his photos, depending on what he put, I don't know his intention on the app, really. And it really doesn't give me, if I even think to initiate a conversation, it doesn't give me a lot to work with, to even start the conversational flow easily. So my bio has it's spaced out into 4 different short paragraphs that are no more than 3 to 4 short lines. So it's easy to read. It also has different emojis to make it cute. So I have born in Poland and half Bulgarian with the flags, lived USA most of my life in 40 plus countries. It's also, you can see it visually on the blog post at fitlifecreation.com/blog, or if you go in the link in the show notes and click the first link and then just navigate to the dating within the blog. Then look in Bali, April through June and July through November plus. And then I have a series of emojis: prayer sign, computer, like a breath work or yoga, globe, book, heart, surfing, snorkel. Then I have first time on a dating app, be kind, intentional dating, never married, and no kids. Impressed by great questions, phone calls, and video chats. Tell me your intentions and take me out. Multi-passionate creator and love living a limitless life, love deep convos on multiple topics. If you would love to go for a walk, smoothie bowl, or show me a fave adventure/place, let's connect. So what does this do? This does for me clarity. This does for others, if they read it, for men, clarity. What not to do, what to do from every angle. So for example, I'll share some. I'm going to share some examples from the initial, and then I'll share some that have recently come up. Because what happens is it's really easier and easier for me to see from an alignment perspective, an availability perspective, an attraction perspective, if the man is aligned or not. Because when he starts initially doing, say, things that are aligned, great. But when he starts to deviate, it's like, is this a temporary moment of lapse because of hormones, or is this a character defect? And when somebody does something repeatedly, especially when it's on an online app, it's really easy to see okay, yeah, our intentions and levels of respect, value, and honor are not aligned. Showcase your personality. Your profile is a chance to show potential matches what makes you unique. Don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. Set intentions. Before diving into swiping, I set clear intention for my time on these apps. I was looking for meaningful connections, whether that led to meeting an amazing, man in general that gives me hope that there's amazing men in the world. And I would hope that that's the same, for men dating women, or vice versa, whatever your preference is, when it comes to love and, and people. And being upfront about my intentions in the profile, and it has on there at the bottom that I'm looking for long-term, helps me filter out those that are looking for something different. So what happened my first week into my first month on dating apps? Because I'm sure some of you are curious. So after joining Tinder Passport Platinum, I received 300 incoming likes in Bali within the first 3 hours, you guys. I was like, whoa. So I am and was both flattered and overwhelmed to receive over 300 likes within the first 3 hours. It was a mix of gratification, validation, bewilderment, overwhelm that left me both excited and apprehensive about what lay ahead. Because in my mind, this is some of what I do sometimes when I'm doing things online, like sharing a course. I picture the 1, the 10, the 50, the 100, the 1,000, the 10,000 plus people, right? Now compare that to, I do that in the realm of business and being like, oh yeah, everyone's online, that's easy. But in the realm of dating, that's not so easy, because I was picturing myself standing literally at this point, in a huge outdoor space or huge conference room, and 300 men are there, looking at me. You know what I mean? So it was like, whoa. So thankfully, my phone is always silent. That's been for years, and no notifications. And when I logged back in the app after a few hours and I saw the 300 men to look through as possible matches, and I was like, okay, let me set some time to do this, and let me set some direction and intention on, what to do with this. So seeing those numbers climb so quickly was undeniably gratifying. It felt like validation of not only they're amazing men, but they definitely like me and want me, right? So from that side, many of the men that did like me and or message me gave me a validation of my profile that they clearly read. that they clearly interacted beyond the first or second photo, and a testament of the effort and intention I put into presenting my best self internally and externally. So let's get into the filtering now, because I'm sure from a female and or a male perspective, you're curious about this too. And again, this may align for you. This may be different for you, because keep in mind, I am faith-based. I am creator and CEO focused. I don't like wasting time. And I also want to be friends first and navigate character, connection, communication, and chemistry. And for me, I'm not looking for chemistry first. In fact, I find myself, even when I am attracted to someone on purpose, I'm holding myself back a bit. And I don't say that in a negative way, but I'm pacing myself or spacing it out, because I don't want to jump into anything, like not even a kiss. Like, so yes, some of you may be like, whoa, like that's extreme. Like, hey, do you, boo? But I'm speaking from years of what I used to do, what like I used to allow or invite or accept, versus what I desire, and then wisdom I'm listening to from people, including what's the movie? Oh my God. It's the movie with, oh my God, I can't think of it. It's like Waiting 90 Days or whatever. It's like a famous movie, and it's like, I'm blanking on it right now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. So with the help of my own divine direction, wisdom gathered, and learning step by step, I developed a strategy, and I continue to develop things and lessons learned as I see who I allow or invite or what, is happening for filtering potential matches that apply. And this can apply, again, to any sex, right? But for me, it's men. Being selective. Rather than swiping right on everyone or being what some people call like a serial matcher, I focus on profiles of people that genuinely intrigue me. Hence, I want to see pictures and a bio. This means usually immediately ignoring and are swiping left on men that don't have their real name. Yes, that's a thing. Like Secret or G or I or D. Showcase poor photos, like low quality, or only show their backs or like themselves from a distance, and or no bio. So to me, that's easy. Like, no, like you're already showing me like you can't be bothered to even put in basic effort. Want short term, AKA hookup, shirtless in the majority or all of their pictures, smoking a cigarette, or sitting with a chain tiger. Yes, these are all, I've seen all of this and more on dating apps. Okay. Observe communication. If you decide to match, and if you feel like, so something genuinely sparks my attention and interest, just like I would be in real life, I engage like I would on social media, like I would in real life. I don't hold myself back. Like if it's somebody that says they lived in Poland, for example, like I'm half Polish, why wouldn't I engage, right? If I'm in the middle of something or simply don't do it in the moment, sometimes I go back, or sometimes I wait for the man to initiate. I would say I practice like a maybe 75% either not interested in initiating something slash 25% initiating ratio, more or less. Like that's not always the case, but in general. When I do start conversations, I typically interact with something from their photo or their bio that aligns with my passions and purpose to help make conversation easy and effortless. I also typically do not talk to more than like 2 to 3 guys at one time, which is also way different, you guys, than I used to be. I used to be the girl that would like meet one guy, only talk to him, only like date him, But what I found, like even if he wasn't showing me that he was, leading to say commitment or engagement, etc. And what I found is my attachment, different things with attachment came up. I started to put my validation or my worth in him, even if he wasn't there at all. And I would be triggered in so many different ways. And so when I started to listen to the wisdom of all these different coaches on doing it, intentionally, but also platonically, and or how you choose to navigate your dating life and protect yourself, then it freed me up in so many different ways. Like I've been on now, let's see, let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dates in the past month to 2 months, and some were repeat with like one person. And I have not kissed anyone. And it's not because I wasn't attracted to, like one or two, but it was simply that I was like, Katrina, focus on getting to know this person, focus on getting to know their character, their purpose, who they are, and then take things step by step by step. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result versus this is like so different than how I was in general, like focusing on connection and chemistry in a sense first, and then character and communication, which now I feel like is in a sense ass backwards from the type of man that I desire. So I observe also how they communicate with me. For example, if a man just drops an emoji in my, after matching with me, after requesting me, and then he just drops an emoji in my messages, it's usually a huge turnoff to me because I'm like, in my mind immediately, like, did you read my bio? Will you put forth any effort? If you're not even putting any effort now, even as a friend, like even purely as a friend, like what makes me think you're going to put forth an effort later? And now some of you may agree, disagree, whatever the case is, but that's simply how I look at it. First impressions count. Just saying. And then what else is there? So I observe if they do the same. I observe if they're only focusing on the physical aspect of me. That's the other thing to me that raises a flag. Like, yes, you can compliment me. Yes, you can tell me I'm beautiful, attractive, etc. But if you repeatedly do that, and that's always the intro of our conversation, like, hello, gorgeous, hello, hottie, hello, fill in the blank. It's like, did you read anything about me? Do you want to know me as a human? Are you capable of having the deep conversations? Because yes, I care about wellness and all those things. And a byproduct is me, looking good and looking young. Like I've like literally repeatedly, and I believe a lot of this is because of the inner work I do and what I put in my body, like, healthy food, aligned, water, not drinking alcohol for now over almost 10 years, like not eating sweets, unless it's vegan, so many different things that repeatedly people think I'm 30, 32, 33, 34, or I even got like 28 in the last 2 months. Like, and I share unapologetically, I'm 45 years young and damn proud of it. And I feel better in many ways than I did when I was 25. So at the same time, to me, I'm not going to objectify. Like, yes, if the man's hot, he's hot. Like, clearly. Like, and I will say, like, oh, you look so good in this, or like, oh, like, your smile is, great. Smile is beautiful, or you have such an engaging smile, etc. But that is not my focus, and that is not my first usually intro. It's, something about the character, something about the interest, because I don't want to be objectified and I don't objectify. And I was raised like that. My parents have been married 45 plus years. And that's not the kind of relationship I want. Like, I want, yes, spiritual, loves God, sapiosexual, sexual, but all with time and intention and amazing communication and character and connection and chemistry and being available and attractive and allowing that in with time. So trust your instincts. If something fell off, I didn't hesitate to either ask for clarity and or not respond and or unmatch and move on. After filtering and leading to aligned initial conversations and connections within my first month on the dating apps internationally in Bali, I went on 4 dates, 4+ dates. So after some initial conversations and matches, I ended up scheduling first dates and or they did with me. For the most part, I didn't. Like, I was available for it, or I maybe was suggested, etc. But I let them initiate and pursue. So here's the highlights on the dates and the guys. So bachelor number 1, while protecting their privacy, European in Bali. So the first man I connected with on a dating app validated a respectful, high-quality man that is a great first experience on a dating app from my first encounter with dating online and anyone's. We connected with engaging and interesting conversations on the app for a few days. We transitioned to WhatsApp. It was, fun. Some deep convos, flirty, honest, authentic. And we had our first date at a restaurant in Ubud, Bali. He set the reservations. He let me know he was running late, and he even asked me what I wanted to order as I was on my way in the Grab, which is like Uber in Asia. So talk about setting the standard, right? That he's like, I don't want you to have to wait for your meal too long. What do you want? I'm already here. I can order for you. Like, and we hadn't even met in real life yet, you guys. Like, I had never had a guy do that for me before. So that also said to me how I'm valuing myself and my worthiness now as a woman. We spoke about both intentional questions and let the conversation flow, and we laughed a lot. I could definitely feel he was a bit more shy in person, which was interesting. He has lived in Bali from a country in Europe for about 3 years. We went on a second/third date because it was literally like 2 dates all in one. About a week or so later, with hiking at 2 waterfalls in North Bali and an incredible restaurant experience at Merlin's in Ubud, Bali, which I reviewed and highly, highly recommend. The second date was co-organized with an experience online, and he paid for everything on all the dates without hesitation. And in fact, he even told me like one time on WhatsApp, like, hey, if I'm inviting or initiating, like that's part of our culture. Like don't ever like worry, like it's done. I did, because I did offer one time. We almost had a fourth experience in Bali with Gili Air before I left after my first 2 months in Bali, but our timing didn't align as some timing things changed. At the same time, I'm currently feeling friend vibes, which is 100% okay. The dates all stayed platonic other than hugs, and I set the intention to be friends first to set the foundation. And so in that last statement that the dates all stayed platonic has been consistent so far. Because part of me, and some of you may find this really old fashioned. Like I know amazing love stories in every spectrum, right? But part of me, because of some of my past experiences and letting emotions and hormones run wild, part of me, in a sense, wants to even wait to kiss until we're like officially boyfriend and girlfriend. So it's almost like I'm reverting back to being 16 in some sense, right? And it's not to say that's a super hard and fast rule, but that's kind of the inclination. And some of you may or may not know, I actually decided to pursue purity back in 2010. So yes, 2010. That is not a typo. That is not a misspoken date or year, which blows my mind. And believe me, it has not been easy in any way, shape, or form. And honestly, though, since 2016, I haven't felt the urge with any one particular person at all. So that's also interesting, to say the least. So bachelor number 2, he's from South America / an American in Bali. He piqued my interest from a South American country that I visited, Colombia, in 2022. However, within the first chat on the dating app, a red flag was raised with the intentionality and the speed of getting to the date, in a sense of something just felt off, and I pulled back. Later, we continued to chat, and I asked for clarity, and I thought all aligned. And I was proud of myself for asking for clarity. After reflecting, I experienced a second and third red flag when he rescheduled the initial date, and then he did not contact me in advance after I asked him to the next day. And he asked me to go 2+ hours to meet him briefly after a wellness treatment and before a business meeting. I nicely and calmly and told him that would not work for me at all. The day of our date, he shifted the time 2 times. After further reflection, I realized I should have simply gone and done something else and not replied, or let him know later that, hey, just the back and forth, like, hey, if that's how you operate and that's how you choose to, that's your, free will. However, that doesn't work for me, especially, for connecting, for, first meeting, first/date, whatever, it is. At the same time, I realized I was curious. And I realize where curiosity is not always a great thing, especially when it impedes on worthiness, boundaries, and values. And I realized maybe, in a sense, I was also self-sabotaging based on the prior experiences being good. We ended up meeting with the previous guy. We ended up meeting at a smoothie bowl spot with a great convo and a hug. He paid for the day. Afterwards, I texted him and I thanked him and that I enjoyed it and I felt safe and good. He messaged me the fourth and final red flag. I did not miss this one. I'm usually a quick learner. He asked me to possibly come stay at his villa via WhatsApp or in Bali or in Europe. I did not reply intentionally and purposely until the next day. I calmly replied, thank you for the invitation, but I don't feel comfortable with that. He never replied, bye-bye or boy-bye. Well, also, what was interesting is like an hour-ish into our date, he was like, "Oh, I got to go do cardio because of some fitness and things he's involved in," which I was like, "Okay." But that was weird, especially with rescheduling twice and already having a ton of gym time that day. And then when he texted me that thing about the villa, like all around, like the vibes and the misalignment was clear. Bachelor number 3, a professional project manager from Asia slash a couple different countries in Bali. His profile showcased active, athletic, and professional pics in a bio with an interesting background between Asia and UK and Bali. Our conversation flowed great from the app to WhatsApp to his setting up a date within the first week and asking for my feedback. So far, so good. He then shared his photo on WhatsApp, which looked like him, but older by probably 3 to 5 years ish and a beard. Men and women, update your pictures, please. We ended up going on a date on a rooftop pool in the afternoon for 2 hours ish. It was a day date. We did have a great convo of food and went swimming. We hugged and I thanked him after. I felt more aligned to a friend vibes long term. The other thing that I thought of too, in Bali or in different places, it's definitely different. Like sometimes you might go for like a swim-ish type date like that. Or if I go surfing or if I go snorkeling, which I'm definitely game for, but I also realize it gives a lot of visual early on, especially depending on the guy's intentions. Bachelor number 4, an intriguing American in Bali for over 1+ years in the love, aka wedding industry. So let's talk about this one now. So, Bachelor number 4, his profile showcased high quality photos, an engaging smile, and a beautifully written bio. It is very intentional. We matched both on Tinder and Bumble. I was on Bumble at the time, or then it was in June. The first few days or a week or so, we talked about interesting alignments and things in common with Poland, Bulgaria, and Austria, like the fact that he lived in Czech close to the border with Poland and went to Poland a lot, that he's been to Bulgaria and has friends there and went to Sofia recently, and to Austria, which I was born in Poland, half Bulgarian, and have been, a number of times to both countries. And then my brother and sister-in-law and his family live in Austria, and I've been a number of times as well. So that is very interesting. He's the first person I met that's been to all 3 European countries that myself and my family are connected to. The second week or so, we talked more on the apps and transitioned to WhatsApp easily. And I found we aligned on many more things, including intentions, our parents' marriage stories and lessons learned, love languages, communication style, love adventure, and mindset. So that was definitely exhilarating and engaging in a number of ways. And he expressed direct communication. We almost had a date the weekend before I was leaving Bali. However, he let me know he wasn't feeling well and expressed he definitely wanted to meet before I left and didn't want to wait till October, that would be too long. At the time, I didn't have plans to return until October-ish for my retreat. I did let him know I might come August or sooner. We set a coffee date 2 dates before I was leaving that he initiated. When I saw him, I definitely felt an alignment and attraction and availability and being in the presence of a masculine man all around. For those curious about external experiences, he looked even better in person than the pics in comparison to the others. During the date, we talked even more during the date about different things, and we laughed a lot. We did both talk about not wanting to like each other too much too soon, even before the date. I was somewhat surprised and disappointed he didn't continue communication after I left Bali, and when I asked about a recent event he led. For me, intention and communication, of course, in real life and or video and important is important if there's interested in continuing further. So I took it as he isn't because he didn't, and or maybe, I wasn't here. Who knows, right? For me, him not communicating is answer enough when he didn't reply to, a question I had about an event he was leading and even had put like a funny GIF. If he reaches out in the future, if he chooses to, I will curiously ask why he did stop communicating. I do understand why he might have. At the same time, I'll express, my desires, what makes me happy for intentional dating and romantic relationship if that would ever come up, like if that was ever even a thing, because it may not. And honestly, I can say that, initially I was curious and a bit disappointed when I was in Austria, but then I was like, you know what? If there's a question, that's the answer. Like if there's a question of answer, of intention, of communication, of pursuit, that's our answer, ladies. So many times it's like we, out of devaluing ourselves, out of not believing we're worthy of a pursuit of a wonderful man inside and out, we will devalue and diminish and decrease our worth even further for someone we barely even know or has only been in our life a couple months or whatever it is, right? And I did update my bio with some points after this experience. What I do love is that I'm learning so much about myself. I'm healing as I date, and each man is getting better and better in different ways. And or I'm seeing things that come up to maybe not give, say, my WhatsApp so quick, because then the communication fades away. So maybe then use Instagram as an intermediary, so to speak. So my first time on dating apps in 2024 has been an exciting journey of self-discovery and connection, from exploring the world through Tinder Passport to confidently initiating conversations on Bumble. I've learned a lot about myself and what I seek in a purposeful partner. The guidance from these coaches and the others and my own divine directions has been invaluable. As I continue this journey, I'm excited to see where it leads and the new connections I'll be making along the way. I've also been recording somewhat consistently, as I feel led, dating diaries on video with myself to share my impressions. Like, it's not a hard and fast, I do it every time. Like, I didn't do it with my last date this week. So whether you're a seasoned swiper or a newbie like me, remember to stay true to yourself, set clear intentions, be safe, and enjoy yourself on your way to finding your heart's desire. If you love this, you're going to love my 75 tips, tools, and tact to create it like a boss. And definitely check out my blog and podcast on top 10 Bali things to do, since we have talked about all of that. Additionally, I wanted to give you guys an update since then. So I did turn on the app in Austria, but didn't really find any engaging or interesting convo, and nothing led to a date. I didn't really even bother in the United States because I was going from Orlando for about a week. And then during that time, I was meeting my brother and his family in Disney. And then I had a ton of errands to run, being back in the US for the first time, and work to get done, etc. And then I was going to Herbalife Global Nutrition Extravaganza in Minnesota, so I wanted my attention fully there. And then I was coming back to Bali via San Francisco on a direct flight to Singapore, and then from Singapore to Bali. But I did have, there was somebody I matched with circa Bali before I think I had left Bali or something. Like, something there happened because he actually comes to Singapore a lot. And then he lives because his mom lives there, and then he lives in San Francisco. And we had a great conversation going. And then we almost set up a date in the San Francisco airport. So that was funny. And then I don't know if the app, something happened, or and he let me know, let me know when you're in California again. Cause I let him know that I would likely be there in October, and endish of October. And then he said he would let me know when he was in Singapore again. So I don't know if the app glitched, something happened, or he just unmatched, who knows. But in any event, he's not in my messages anymore. So I found that interesting. Because actually that did happen to me one time, and then the person found me actually on TikTok and on Instagram. So I know crazy things do happen with tech. So another fun fact. And also the persistence and pursuit, if someone is really, really interested, at least, to a degree, to even know you as a person. And then I did match and start talking to one guy in Bali since I came back. And I was leaving Seminyak, which is a city in Bali, to come to Ubud. And we talked about maybe connecting to go to Nusa Penida later or surf in Uluwatu. So we kind of just left it open. and I left it open to see, like, like mutually, like if I decide I want to reach out when I'm, in those areas or vice versa. No pressure. And then I did connect with someone from also another spot in Asia that goes between that country and here. And at first, we communicated really well on the app, and then we transitioned to each other's Instagrams and WhatsApp. But and he's currently not in Bali. And then he started with transitioning from more of the aligned, personal, interesting, engaging convo to more focused on the physical, and started repeatedly saying things like, and again, I have no issue with someone calling me beautiful or different things, but it was like, hello, hottie, or hot thing, which to me was like, I'm not like I am 16 in some ways, but I'm not. And then when it was like every like initiation was that and not anything further about like his day or anything like that, or asking me about myself, it was like, eh. And then, so already that was kind of raising a flag for me, and not in a good way when that happened. And then another was when he asked, actually it was two more. He asked me like why, like he enjoyed our convo, and keep in mind it was like once or twice on the apps, right? And then on the app on Tinder, and then they enjoyed our convo, and then why, like, oh, I must be busy, why wasn't I messaging? So already that was kind of like weird for me, because it was like, dude, we just like matched, and like already you're asking me why I'm not like communicating consistently. Like we're like, we should all be at the stage where it's fun and it's flowing and etc. And I had already said that to him, because he said, do you want to wait to communicate until I'm in Bali, or do you care if we communicate already? And I said, it's fine if we do, let's just flow like with friendship and see. So I also made that very clear, like it's on my profile, and I made it very clear again, like friends first, like 2 times. And then he sent a picture, like it looked like on the beach or at the pool or something, of himself in the WhatsApp, and then started mentioning like, oh, wait till you meet me, you're gonna want to be more than friends sooner than you think, la la la. And I was like, what? Like, maybe that works on some girls, but I was just thinking, like, we barely had like 1 or 2 convos. Maybe that's worked for you in the past, but I've already made it very clear my intention, like on the profile, and 2 more times. And now it's starting to feel like a bit like pressure. And, and I just laughed and kept it light. And I was like, yeah, something like, what did I say? No, I told you, like I said, like, no, friends first, and then, flow with time, like letting him know again, like pushing back. And then I said, I applaud the confidence though, smiling face, right? So I didn't like, I honored him as a man, and I didn't like demean him or diminish him or anything, and still kind of, applauded part of his effort, right? But then one of the last messages was like, hey, good morning, hot thing, or something like that. And I was in the middle of like several different things yesterday work wise. And then when I saw it later on WhatsApp, I was just like, yeah, no. And I didn't even reply, because it was just like, if you read my profile, if you read anything, look at our initial convos, interaction, like what makes guys think that's like a turn on? I don't know. Or that's like what am I going to say to that? Like, oh, thank you for calling me hot again 10 times. Like, yes, I appreciate it and I applaud it, but like, tell me more about you. I already asked different questions, engage about you, about you as a person. And I specified in our prior convos, I care about character and connection much more than I do, and communication much more than I do about chemistry. And in fact, I will pause the chemistry for the cause. So that was that one. I don't even think we're going to go on a date. And then the date I went on recently, Friday. So I connected really, really well with a European in Bali for a couple weeks on vacation, and had a great convo, aligned on a couple of different things, was light, etc., and then consistent, and then also did like voice messages, etc., and did compliment me on looks a couple times, but not like overtly, and it was more like beautiful, or or gorgeous, or this or that, and then also a lot about personal things, right? And then I went to Yoga Barn for ecstatic dance, actually for the first time, and I loved it. I went to ecstatic dance for the first time and to Yoga Barn for the first time. Love them both. Speaking of, I need to write a review, which I will this week because I'm going to go again at least twice for different things. There's a woman and water workshop, and then I want to go to ecstatic dance on Sunday. It's amazing, you guys, to get into your body and just embody and let go of the masculine, the energy, the thinking, the doing. It was so freeing. I did it for probably like 2 hours straight and then took a break and then went upstairs to the music component, which next time I definitely want to do the upstairs part. It's you see all the beautiful landscapes around. Anyway, I digress. We were communicating earlier that day before I went, and then he was mentioning like he wanted to take me to dinner or wanted to meet, etc. And normally I don't do night dates for a first date, or at least like past like 4-ish or 5-ish. Because it's my first time meeting the person, etc. Even when they offer, I typically, or I always end up, if I don't know them like through someone, like it's a dating app, if it's a dating app, it's not like I met them in real life or I know them from someone, I end up meeting them at the place. Like, and he kept insisting to pick me up from Yoga Barn and then go to this place called Laughing Buddha, that we were going to go grab dinner. But I let him know, like, no, like, actually, I'm good. I'm literally 5 minutes away from there, and I'm going to get there before you would get here. So it just makes sense. I appreciate you asking me and wanting to pick me up. So I definitely like honored his desire to please and his desire to be like a king and treat, a queen, which is some of also what I talk about and some of what I've been learning, right? At the same time, I'm thinking about safety. And I even said to him, I was like in the WhatsApp, at the same time, I want to make sure you're like a normal, like, respectful man. So I was like very clear, like I was funny, but I was also very clear and I didn't hide that, right? And then, and Laughing Buddha was packed. We went to this place across the street that was, it was fine. It was okay. But like it wasn't the same kind of vibe. And they were playing like a lot of music I remember from like 10 plus years ago, which was interesting. The food was really good. We had a great convo, a lot about travel and then talking about possibly connecting the next day at waterfalls and whatnot. And then he offered to take me home or to take me to my, home now at the time, Ubud Sawa, because I'm doing a project now with the travel brand. So I'm actually in a different place now. And I said, okay, I felt good about it. And then he kissed me on the cheek, like when, we got there and I left and I thanked him and told him I had a, good time, la, la, la. And then I messaged him and I said, hey, I hope you, thank you. I had a good time, talking about travel and different things. Oh, and we did talk about past relationships. We did talk about some intentional things as well during the date. So side note. And then I messaged him later. I said, I've had a good time. I felt good. I felt safe. I hope you got home before the rain, because I noticed like 10, 15 minutes after he dropped me off that it started raining. And he took a picture and his jacket was like soaked. And he's like, said, yeah, I deserve a 5-star rating. And he left like a voice message. And he said, and then you could tell he kind of hesitated. Like he was, in a sense, shooting his shot, but he hesitated. And then but he still shot it like, oh, and maybe a kiss. And I just put laughing face. And I said, and same, I told him, friends first. I want to get to know a person. I'm not like crystal clear, guys, ladies, crystal clear. I'm not looking for a hookup. I'm not looking to get physical super fast. I want to know you as a human, as a person. Do we align on multiple levels? And in fact, I've always found the more you know a person on every level, everything else flows even more, right? And like, are certain things aligned, with so many different things. And so anyways, I said, maybe on the cheek. And then the next day, so I noticed the communication, the consistency shifted massively. And then the next day later, I got a message that, I'm waiting on the bike, da, da, da. And then it was like, also this part was different. Like maybe we can meet at the waterfall. So there was no more like, oh, I want to come pick you up, right? So that was also interesting, right? Like observe things that are happening. And this is even with friends. This is with business. You guys, this is everything. Like just observe, like be a curious observer. Be like Curious George. And I say I'm like Curious George meets Where in the World is San Diego meets Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego meets Barbie. Like that's me. And, and so I observed that, and I had already gone to 2 other waterfalls close to my Airbnb at the time, or Airbnb slash Expedia slash go to all the things. And I needed to get some work done for the project, and I was feeling low energy. And I messaged a friend of mine, Wyan Elite, that also helps me with the videos because he works at Canto Lampo, the waterfall. Because I knew it was a Saturday, and I knew it's already the afternoon. It's probably gonna be packed, and I'm gonna have to wait like an hour. So I knew like I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this right now. And in fact, it doesn't align for me. And I messaged him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's over like an hour and a half wait." He's like, because I've already been there twice, and the last time I was here for 2 months in Bali. He's like, it's better to come during in the morning, and and then the same thing was for the other waterfall I wanted to go visit. And again, my energy was lower. I decided to chill by the pool at Ubud Sawa, finish my videos for the travel project, and simply like woosah. So then he messaged me a picture or video of his private room and private pool. And we had initially talked about maybe me coming over for the big pool at the property because it kind of looked like Kretia Ubud. And I noticed he was no longer asking or inviting me for that, but he was subtly inviting me for a private quote unquote room and pool stay because he messaged me like his story. So he downloaded his story from Instagram because I told him I don't look at stories like very, very rarely because I know they're a time suck and I track my screen time. And like very, very rarely will I look at someone's stories. And like 9 out of 10 times, if I do, it's by accident because it like the little circle flashed or something weird happened. So anyway, he sent me the video. So subtle, not so subtle. Like, oh, look at my room. It's so amazing. But it's kind of sad because I'm here alone. And he knew from us talking about our past like dating / Tinder like highlights, like not very detailed, just highlights of experiences. He knew one example of the Colombian guy that messaged me on WhatsApp after to come to his villa directly. So I was, for me, it was like, oh my God, this is so obvious. You learned partially from that example, and you're not asking me directly, but you're asking me really indirectly, kind of ish. Like, why else would you show me, download your story and do all this? So anyway, so that's kind of where, and it also showed me like to filter even more before I even meet the guys, because then I'm not wasting my time or their time on a date, right? So in any event, I hope that was entertaining and enlightening, and definitely tag me on social if you listen to this or leave a review on the show so I can shout you out. And as always, create, transform, and inspire. You are born to.